Hey, good day, guys. Title of this is If You Keep Bringing It Up, You're going to Keep Bringing It Back. How many of us need a paradigm shift in our thinking? Um, Another book I'm reading, it's called 6 months to six figures. And he talks about going from six figures to seven figures and so on. But if you're needing a paradigm shift in your thinking, a paradigm is a series of thoughts that create a habit. And habit is God's way of making good automatic in our life. Let me say that again. Habit is God's way of making good automatic in our life. And when we think of the word habit, we tend to think of bad habits, smoking, drinking, carousing, all that kind of crap. But a habit is simply, we did something habitual this morning. It's called getting up out of bed. We're doing something right now that's habitual. Breathing. If you're listening to this, you're doing it habitually. Your mind knows how to listen, and without you having to think about it, without having to labor over it, and without having to stress about it. Imagine if things came that easily in our life just by habit. But sometimes when we keep bringing things up from the past, they keep showing up, don't they? They keep coming back. So whatever you keep bringing up, you're going to keep bringing back. So the way to get a paradigm shift in your life, like I was just reading in this book, and I encourage you to read. Reading will help your mind. It'll shift something in your mind. In the Bible, we read. In Romans chapter 12, verse 2, it says, Be no longer conformed to the patterns of this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. Now, the renewing of the mind is like renewing a kitchen. When you renew a kitchen, you got to tear out the old sink, tear out the old counters, tear out the old cupboards. You don't just change it. You have to tear things out. If I was to remodel, for instance, if you were to leave your house for 3 weeks, move out, you decide to move from the house, and you didn't change anything, when you come back in 3 weeks, you'd be comfortable. But what if the kitchen was no longer where the kitchen was? What if they decided, the new owners decided to remodel the whole house and move the kitchen to where the living room was, and vice versa? You'd walk in and you wouldn't recognize the place. That is what we are to do with our mind. Well, if you are 30 years of age, you have 262,300 hours of mental conditioning. Now, if I was to ask you what type of car you drive, what kind of house you live in, what your refrigerator is, you'd be able to tell me. You wouldn't have to go to your house. You wouldn't have to go out into the parking lot. You wouldn't have to go out to the driveway to look at the car. You wouldn't have to tell me. But if I asked you what your mind looks like, you could tell me what your car looks like, your refrigerator, your house, all that. But if I ask you what your mind looks like, nobody's ever seen the mind. Nobody's ever seen it. We're told to renew it. We're told to change it. We're told to keep our mind on good things. We're told to think positive. We're told to do all these things, but we're really never told about our thoughts and why they're so ingrained in us. And that's why when we keep bringing things up, we keep bringing them back. I say, let the dead bury their dead. Keep the past in the past. It's like move on from it and start renewing your mind from this day forward, because the things that we do habitually will determine our life permanently. Well, in this book, I read what worked 5 to 10 years ago in business and in life isn't going to work today. It's not. What worked in 2019 definitely did not work the same way in 2020. And, they don't teach a lot. There's not too many classes in high school. You have to learn it as you go. I mean, a lot of young people know more about Instagram and Facebook and Twitter and all that. We have a president that is superior in Twitter. I wish I was a fly on the wall. Wish I could learn from the guy about how he handles his Twitter account and what he does. I mean, the guy's a master marketing genius. He's a master at it. But That's beside this point. With social media, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, they don't really teach a lot of classes in high school, in elementary. And most of us knew how to post a picture on our Facebook when we got into the world of Facebook and we got into the world of virtual reality, but we really didn't know what to do with it. I mean, we still don't. When I learned about the first group in Facebook, I learned there was groups in Facebook. Facebook is a nation of which I haven't even been to every city yet. It is a huge country of its own within Facebook. And then you've got the YouTubes and the Googles and the Twitters and the Instagrams that you've got so much inundation with everything. It is time for us to have a shift in our paradigm, our thinking. Our thinking's got to change, guys. One of my friends, Kyle Maynard, he was a no arms and no legs. Wrote a book called No Excuses. He was a collegiate wrestling champion. And then there's the other guy, Nick. I can't even pronounce his last name, but Nick has no arms, no legs, and the guy is ripped. He's got he's been on stage with Tony Robbins. He's been on Larry King. These guys have been, and they are just phenomenal human beings. And they have had so many limitations against them, but they have taken and they have turned their obstacles into opportunities, their setbacks into setups, and their stumbling blocks into stepping stones. And that's what I want to teach us, guys. It doesn't mean where you are is not who you are. It may have been where you've been. We are exactly where we want to be in life, whether we will admit it or not, and that is a hard pill to swallow. It's when we do the diligence and we do the work necessary to get to where we want to go. But how do you change your mind, John? Well, hopefully these few pointers will help. Number one, read. Gosh, read out loud. There are so many distractions, and the only voice that you truly believe is your own. Let me say that again. The only voice that you truly believe is your own. How do you create a new habit? Number one, you got to create a habit of reading. Read at least 30 minutes a day, and read out loud when you do. Literally pick up a book and start reading. Let's see, go against the grain. There is nobody like you, and once you realize that, your entire future changes. Before I dive deep into the core lessons, I want to remind you how unique and different you are. In a society where everyone is trying to fit in, I challenge you to embrace being different and stand out. The story of the human race is the story of men and women selling themselves short. I'm not being negative. I'm observing the reality. The average person settles for far less than he or she is truly capable of becoming. The truth is, we are all extraordinary. We came into this world with more talents and abilities than we could ever use, but our potential is only pulled out when we focused on our strengths and when we stay true to who we really are. The most successful people our world has ever seen have built legacies staying true to themselves. Jody Williams, Nobel Peace Prize winner, was asked what her key to success was, and her answer was simply, stay true to yourself. That's the biggest key I can tell you, guys. Stay true to yourself. Read a book. Read positive materials. Reinforce, and stay the course. Know your true self. Know your true north. Get a goal that's so exhilarating that it excites you and scares you at the same time. One that's so in tune with your mental and spiritual core that you'll willingly dedicate all of your waking hours to its attainment, so that you can say at the end of your life, I am grateful to the idea that used my life. And George Bernard Shaw said, I don't believe in circumstances. The person who gets on in this world is the person who finds the circumstance that he wants. And if he can't find it, he creates it. My name is Jonathan Ribble. Have a great day, guys, and keep the faith, but have the paradigm shift in your mentality. Take care. Bye bye.